Well, hello there, good people. Jason here with Green Country Agroforestry. I'm out here in the garden, middle of the summer, at a time when a lot of people are packing it up and saying it's just too hot out and it's time to call it quits for the year. Well, the sunflowers aren't calling it quits, and I'm not either. Let's have a look out over here at our, this is our corn patch, but it doesn't have any corn in it right now. There is a great big old sea of greenery. And most of that you're looking at there is buckwheat. Buckwheat is coming up. A couple of them, look over there, are starting to put on some flowers, but those are early showers. Underneath that, we've got daikon radish. That's just for soil conditioning, not for food, because this is actually a drain field. At least these first two rows are. But we have other things going on out here. We've got some okra popping up. We've got those Jerusalem artichokes in the back coming up big. But today we're going to look at what's growing on this trellis primarily, because that's what our harvest is. This is a Chinese asparagus bean, yard-long bean. Sometimes called long pod cowpeas. As a matter of fact, we'll have a look here at a comparison of the seeds of this particular critter. Here we've got the seeds of the asparagus bean. That's what we planted. And by comparison, these are black-eyed peas. And just like black-eyed peas, cowpeas, these asparagus beans love the heat. So right now, whenever other vegetables are going, oh, it's too hot, I don't want to grow anymore, we've got this bean here that thinks that this is the perfect time. Alright, so we're going to pick them. They're called yard-long beans or snake beans, long pod cowpeas. But we pick them, look at this, when they're about this big. This is probably 18 to 24 inches. Right? That's perfectly sized. We don't want them to get too big around, because then they get a little woody, and woody's no good. This is pretty much right there in the sweet zone. Obviously, they're a lot longer than a regular green bean, so we manage these by cutting them or breaking them, but cutting them is quicker. Once we've got them picked, you chop them up, and then they can either be cooked or canned or frozen. But otherwise, we're going to be treating these just like they were green beans, not like they were black-eyed peas. So black-eyed peas, we let those grow, and then we cook up the peas as you know, like a dry pea. These ones we want to eat with the pods like they were green beans. Look at these. Oh my gosh, look at that. Heat comes on, food comes on. Don't you like that? And we've got more flowers coming. More of these are ripening up every day. More beans, more beans, more beans. You know, before it was every day there's more flowers, more flowers, more flowers, and we're eating flowers. And you know what? We're still eating flowers. That's not an issue. Oh, look at this. We got a little bit of weeds to pull while we're over here. Oh, chores. I tell you what, it's so hard to keep a garden. You can always pull weeds. Well, you know, try not to make your whole garden pulling weeds. You know, I ought to do a video about that, huh? I should do a video about pulling weeds and how you should not make that your primary focus. As a matter of fact, pulling weeds might be one of the worst things you could do in your garden, but I digress. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Should we pick this one or give it another day? It's kind of thin. Yeah, we'll give it another day. What do you think? This one? Oh, this one's easily long enough. Easily long enough. Let's go ahead and pull it. You don't want these guys to go too long. If they get much thicker than this right here, that's about the point where you may as well save them for seed. If it gets much thicker than that, you want the pods to still be. Yeah, let's go ahead and pick this one. You want the pods to still be tender. Oh my! I see another one over there. Right. Now you can see we've got more coming up. I'll have to pick those either tomorrow or the next day or so. More flowers, More beans forming, but this is my haul for the day. That's not too bad. And off of this little tiny trellis right here. And you know what the best thing is? It doesn't take hardly anything at all to maintain and water this. Let me show you real quick. And as you can see, all we got to do is put that hose down on the ground and let it start to leak a bit. It'll just leak right out onto the ground, giving our plants a good watering. Gets our plants a good watering here. Also fertilizes because we have also fertilizes because we have organics going on in the pond behind us. Little fishies, little froggies, dragonflies, and all manner of life growing, and the life processes produce wastes. A lot of the wastes, being of the heavier nature, go down to a point where they can be diverted off the bottom to contribute to the fertility of your crops. Now, you don't have to use a garden hose. You can do this a lot bigger, like my granddad used to do, with a full-size pond with about, a full acre, part of a series of ponds that fed a series of food and nutrients into the aquatic life, so that by the time it came out, it was quality fertilizer for free. And you get it while you're watering too. So you got to water your plants, you got to fertilize, but you don't have to use a fertilizer that's formulated in a lab. You can use the fertilizer that was formulated by the creator. Much better, I think. At least you don't have to worry about the costs, huh? It grows for free. There we go. Got some morning glories popping up. Look at that. See this walkway also. It's a great spot whenever you're coming along here and do this stuff. Pull up these morning glories, pull up some weeds. Here's cool. I don't want these guys going to seed in any case. I don't mind if the buckwheat goes to seed. That's kind of the point, but I want to get rid of these morning glories before they do, or at least get them out of here in a timely fashion. This is one of those cases where, that story about the weeds and the tares? Have you heard that one? It's in your Bible if you read it. Alright, see, we got morning glory we don't want, we got buckwheat we do want. Trying to pull up the morning glory, what I wind up pulling up? Buckwheat. So here's what we're going to do. For most of the stuff, if it's not clear and obvious that I can yank it out, I'm going to leave it until it goes to seed. And then whenever it goes to seed, if absolutely necessary, I'll pull it out then. Oh, look at this. This guy's an okra right here. This is another one of those plants. Oh, we don't want to get overgrown by morning glories. But this is another one of those plants that really doesn't start to shine until later on in the season, whenever the heat arises. And this guy's going to shoot up. He's going to start producing flowers and edible seed pods here in short notice. And those guys, I tell you what, are absolutely delicious. Hang around. There'll be some more videos. You'll be able to see those. Now this trellis behind me is formed by just taking a couple of cattle panels, clipping them off and setting them up on their ends. I think there's about 3 or 4 of them here. And of course they're backed up by the retaining wall for our little stock tank pond there. So, oh, darn it, I broke off this really nice healthy buckwheat plant here. Look at that. Very nice and healthy plant. I broke it off accidentally trying to pull up that weed. So what happens? Pulling up weeds, and we wind up harming our own garden in the process. We need to stop pulling up weeds. Let's go ahead and just leave them there until it's time to harvest. You know what? The weeds, they're doing the job. We'll let them do the job. They're occupying space on the ground. Yeah, they're robbing some nutrients. Yeah, they might do some choking out of the plants. So if they're choking out the plants, we'll give the plants some relief if it becomes a problem, if it becomes necessary. But otherwise, we're going to leave them alone so we don't damage the good plants that we're trying to keep here. Well, good people, I'm going to go ahead and get my harvest for the day put away. I hope you found this video informative or entertaining, and if you did, you know what to do. I'll catch you next time. Until then, get out there and get growing.